Hello, back again to do another review. This time around I thought we'd do something a little different, and instead of reviewing a gadget, I thought let's look at something you use to carry your gadgets, or whatever else you want to put inside. So, this item that you're looking at is the BrickHouse Mono Sling from the brand Fuel. That brand is spelled out as F-long-U-L. So now, as I said, this is a mono sling, and how it differs from a conventional backpack is instead of having a strap that goes over each shoulder, you have one strap, i.e. the mono, and it slings across your body. Now this one, one of the reasons I like this particular model from this brand so much is it's an ambidextrous version. So that means you have the main strap, and you see at the end it goes into this lobster claw. And you can attach this lobster claw either to this corner or this corner over here. And depending on where you put it, it'll sling across your body down diagonal in the opposite direction. So if you're right-handed, left-handed, it should be a problem. So I find the biggest advantage of a mono sling as opposed to a conventional backpack is since the mono sling goes across your body like so, it allows your shoulders a lot more free room to rotate. Especially on the free shoulder, which is here, but even on the shoulder where the mono sling does come up on, since it's going closer to your neck, this shoulder still has more room to rotate than if you had a conventional backpack with the straps coming down like so. Alright, so now looking at this bag, right away you can tell it's high quality because if you look at the material, it has a real dense weave. So it's not some of the cheaper versions or cheaper bags or models or whatever. It just looks like, although it's closed and you can't see through it, it's not woven as tight as this is. So this really does give you the idea that it'll protect its contents from the outside world. Okay, so I thought we'd take a look at all the compartments on here. So no better place to start than the very frontmost pocket. So let's go. Alright, so this little front pocket here, okay, this is my first touching of the material that serves as a divider between all the different sections of this bag, and I can tell you it's actually, it's nice, it's nicely tightly woven, and it seems that it would be able to be braided by all the many things you'd put in here, and it doesn't appear that it would rip very easy due to the tight weave, so great. Oh, by the way, you can also see the brands written on there, so that's a nice touch. Okay, this pocket actually has a little secret here, and if you reach up behind, you can see there's this where you can pass through a wire, and I can't tell you pretty much as much because it says this is the audio port. A cool idea though is that they also lined it with this rubber frame so that this hole doesn't stretch or rip and get too big. Okay, next compartment. Okay, well, there's quite a few things in here. Alright, so it looks there we have a mesh area with a zipper closure up top. There's another little tiny pocket behind that. In the middle we have what appears to be kind of a tall, this is not a mesh compartment, but rather a solid compartment that extends forward a little bit. Kind of a tall, so I don't know. Right, it closes with Velcro, and then there's the brand name. Alright, then we have three little slots, much like you'd see in a wallet for credit cards, IDs, or whatever, business cards. And here we have, within this compartment, we have a divider that has this elastic band on the top. So it keeps all this stuff vertical, and it doesn't slouch forward. But there's a bigger area behind there. Okay. Then there's this little guy here, which is, I'm assuming, a key hold or key dangle. So you evidently open up by pushing this button. So you push that in, then this comes down. You can see there's that area where you can slide on your key ring or whatnot, and then it closes with a click. Okay, so you always know where your keys are. All right, now getting to the bigger sections. Okay, there's some room there. Now we have this topmost pocket. Alright. Oh, wait, and that, as far as depth, that pocket goes to about here. So it's that big. And this pocket, it does extend into the main area, which we're going to go to right now. So the main area, or main storage, is on the side. So the zipper is on this side. You zip it down, and you can see in there, that's the main area. And you can probably already see there's this main divider within, and that's sectioned off by this little Velcro clasp. You move that, and then now there's the laptop section, and you can see there is a padded divider to help protect the laptop. And on top of that, on that divider, there are two pockets, one there and one here, and those. Pardon me. There we go. So you can see. Yeah. And that also has some cushioning. Not as much as the main divider in the section, but it does have some cushioning nonetheless. And this, by the way, is that top pocket that's extending into this area. Okay. So that pretty much covers all the compartments. Nope, not yet. We have to do the sides yet. Okay, so on this side here, we have this is where you're probably going to put your water bottle. And this mesh net here, by the way, is double lined, so it's a little thicker than others. So, okay. And then over here, we have this section. Now, this is a true side pocket. Why I say that is because you see it's lined with the actual side of the bag. So you can see this material here. It's the same material. So, yeah, this is a true side pocket. Okay. And it zips almost all the way down, but it does have a little gusset here so that if you do leave this open, not all your stuff will fall out. So, okay, now let's look at the strap that goes across the front of your body here. And you can see there's the reflective material, so if you're out at night or whatever, some safety. And then here is the emergency breakaway clasp. So if, I don't know, for whatever reason you need to get rid of this backpack in a hurry, you just, and then boom, the bag falls off and you're free to turn around and fight, run away, or whatever. I don't know what the case may be. So, okay, also I wanted to look at this material on the inside of the strap. You can see that this is not only padded, but it's also has these little porous meshing, but it actually makes this whole thing porous here so air can better circulate. This is important because with the bag's weight, this is what's going to be pushing against your body, because the bag's obviously trying to go backwards off of you, and this is what's holding it on. So this will be pressed up right against your chest, so it's good that it has the extra padding and ventilation. So yeah, this is a nice touch. I mean, yeah, I'm sure on a hot day you'll appreciate that. So another feature I wanted to make sure did not get overlooked is the actual bottom of the bag. So as you can see here, the bottom of the bag is made of a different material than the rest. Instead of this, you have this heavier, rubbery, kind of plasticky, and but flexible, so thick but flexible, and with the traction nubs. But so what this does is obviously it gives it a nice foot, like a boot, when you put it down on the ground. So that way if you slide it around the ground while it's full and heavy, the bottom doesn't have a chance of ripping or tearing. Alright, so at this time I'd like to compare the differences between the new version and the older version. The older version there came out about 1 to 2 years ago, and overall these two slings are very similar. Now you might be saying the one there on the right, the older version, looks smaller. Well, that's just because it has stuff inside it, and also the material's been moved around more, so it's not standing up as flat or as stiff as the brand new one on the left there. Other than that, they'd be the exact same size. Okay, now let's get to the differences. The first difference is a minor cosmetic ones, but there's a lot of functional ones to follow. So let's just get this minor cosmetic one out of the way here. You can see on the new one you have these little red highlights around you see there's another one there and another one there. As where the older one did not have those highlights. That's just the brand sticker there, so that doesn't count. But you can see you don't have those highlights. Okay, now let's get to a functional one. Okay, so a biggie is the zipper pulls. So I'm going to pull these down so we can look at the zipper pulls. Okay, try to get this out of the way so you can see it easier. Okay, so as you can see, the one on the left here is the new one, and you can see how the zipper pull is wider than the one from the older style. Now, in both cases, they're metal, so that's good. And in both cases, they're relatively big, bigger than most other backpacks or slings. However, the newer one here has this inlay, as you can see here, where it says the brand, and it has this black inlay. That also has little rubber nubs on it, so when you grab it, you can get a really good grip on it, as where these do not have that. Okay, now let's get to another difference here on the side of the bag. Okay, so you see this side pocket here, corresponding pockets right there. They're both closed right now. However, on the new one, you can see the zipper ends up on this side, as we're on the older one, the zipper ends up over here. In this case, actually, I think this one had a better design for this particular feature, because as this is on your back, you can go ahead and get this zipper by just reaching over, like behind yourself, and you can pull it open to about here without too much effort, right? And then you can grab whatever's in here and pull it out towards your front and utilize whatever tool that might be that you have stored here. On the newer one, you have to reach all the way over, grab this, so you're going to be kind of fishing for this, if you can even find it, and then you have to pull it all the way, all the way open, or if you leave it half open, now you have to really reach around and kind of do acrobatics to get whatever's in there. So that's one case where I think the older one had a better design. Okay, now let's move on to the next. We'll go around to the back. Okay, so the back, or the side that faces your back, whatever, which some would call the front. Okay, beyond that, let's look. Okay, at the very top here, okay, on the older one, you can see the strap that goes over your body. It had a longer leash from the connection point up here. See? On the newer one, it's a little closer. So, I think you have a little more room for play on the older one. Alright, next, let's talk about the strap. You can see I have something in here. Okay, so on the older one, you had this pocket, which, in fact, this here is a metal Sharpie marker, and you can see, yeah, the pocket is pretty deep. Okay, as we're on this one, you don't have that pocket. Instead, they give you this little guy here, which is a little pouch, and you can see that he has a little Velcro deal, and you put this around this band right here, and then you close this Velcro shut, and then you end up with this thing attached there. Now, the thing about this is, I believe this might have been considered a cell phone pouch a while back when people carried flip phones, and it would have been perfect size for that. However, since most everyone now is carrying a smartphone, you can't really use this for a phone, so maybe a walkie-talkie or whatever. Anyways, if you don't want it, or you want to use it elsewhere, you can just take it off, as I have done, and you can put it back whenever you feel fit, you need to. Okay, so beyond that, again, minor styling, diagonal versus horizontal on that logo. But okay, back to practical here. Okay, now you can see the older one here just goes ahead to the breakaway clasp, as where the newer one has this extra little eyelet. So maybe, well, you can probably think of many things you could hook here, but it's an extra feature that the older one did not have. Okay, now down the adjustment strap on the new one terminates into this, as we're on the older one, it was just a loop. Alright, next let's get to the lobster claw that attaches to the bottom, so you can select what side of the body you want this to go over. And on the newer one, the lobster claw looks like this. On the older one, those look like this. So essentially the same design, but the older one had it slightly wider. And the connection points on the older one, it had this. Let's see, make sure you can get to see this. It had a D-ring. You see that? Yeah, a D-ring. As we're on the newer one, it has this. Alright, so there's a little less jingle-jaggle with this than there was with the D-ring. But, yeah, so, alright, now there's one remaining change which actually I didn't notice when I first looked at these. It comes, the newer one has it, the older one doesn't. So what is this new thing? Feature? It's this strange pass-through. Yes, this here goes behind the very, very, very back most part of the backpack, or as mono sling, that it would be touching your back. And you can see it goes through and it comes out on this side. So there's the exit right there. Alright, and there seems to be some reinforcing stitch done there, which of course the older one did not have. Now, what are you going to pass through along that channel back there? I don't get imaginative, but it is a new feature the older one did not have. So in conclusion, would I recommend this bag? Yes, I would. That's an easy one. I obviously like them. I keep buying the things, but there's for good reason. And I would tell people that if you're not in a scenario where you have to carry a lot of weight in your bag, where you need two straps to evenly distribute the weight across your spine so that you can have the correct posture while traveling, you get the point. If you're not in that scenario, then I'd definitely go with the mono sling. So, yep, good looking bag too.